Well, hello, it's Dave Ryan from KDWB. I do the morning show there, and I was asked to do a short video on something I'm going to mispronounce, but I think it's called Prosopagnosia, I think. So basically, I didn't know this was even a thing until it started to become more and more noticeable. And I'm 55, and I've noticed this especially in the last, I don't know, 10 years or so. And I noticed it because we would have interns that would come to the radio station and they would work there for, the summer or whatever. They'd start in, May as soon as college let out, and they'd work through the summer. Sometimes they'd work, it doesn't matter. But I would introduce myself to an intern 3 or 4 times. And they would always say, they'd kind of be embarrassed, but they wanted to be respectful. So they'd say, yeah, we met a couple of weeks ago, or we met just yesterday. Oh, okay. Well, then that started to happen more and more often. And I thought, wow, am I just so self-centered or self-absorbed or so rude, which I'm not. I'm not that kind of a person. But was I so absorbed in myself that I didn't notice these faces? And I can give you one from a couple of years ago. I was doing a thing for Special Olympics, and I was riding on a ski lift with a woman, and I started talking to her like, hey, how are you? I'm Dave. And she's like, oh, I'm good. Hey, I'm Holly. Good to see you. And I'm like, good to see you. Well, turns out this is a woman that I worked with in our sales department that I'd met several times, probably a half a dozen times, but I didn't recognize her, and I would always blame it like, oh, well, your hair has changed, or she was wearing a ski hat, and I would blame it on different things. And then the worst one though was probably about 5 years ago. My son Carson he's 16 now, but he was probably about 9 or so at the time, and we were doing a live broadcast from a Caribou Coffee. And we had a table set up in the front of the store with our microphones behind it. We're sitting behind the table, and this boy comes in, and he comes up near the front, and he's standing about 10 feet away, and I looked at him, and I remember I thought in my mind, oh, isn't that cute? His mom brought him down and at that moment, boom, I realized that's my son Carson. I didn't recognize my own son's face. And again, I tried to put it in context in saying, well, I didn't expect him to be there. I had no idea he was going to come by, or his hair was wet, so... And I thought, well, does anybody else have this problem? And I think people do, but it must be a real thing, because I think Steve looked it up and said, well, I think Brad Pitt has it, and it is a real thing. And then I would meet people around the neighborhood, and then, oh my God, this woman came to Allison's graduation party 7 years ago, and we stood in my kitchen, and we talked for probably 10 minutes making small talk, and I thought, I know her. I know I'm supposed to know who she is, but I don't recognize her face. It turned out she's the neighbor that I've known for 8 years that lives 3 or 4 houses away. So it's frustrating and it's embarrassing. It happened most recently at an event with Special Olympics. Again, this time a different woman. We were at Mall of America, and there's a woman helping out, and she's helping me, talking to me. And I introduced myself, and she said, yeah, I've worked with you before at your Special Olympics 5K. And I thought, oh my God, I've introduced myself. It occurred to me, I've introduced myself to this woman 3 or 4 times. So there are a ton of stories, but it's embarrassing. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at my cat. Where'd he go? There he is. Hi, Roger. It's embarrassing, and it makes you not want to introduce yourself to people because you're not sure whether you already have or not. And it doesn't mean I don't recognize every face. I mean, I don't have a problem recognizing Steve or Fallon. Oh, real quick, the first incidents I ever remember was I was about 22 years old, and there was a girl at the radio station, and I don't remember all the details because it was so long ago, but I remember thinking, wow, wait, have I met her before? Or she looks so much like this girl I met the other day. Is that the same girl? And it was not. The other girl that I was thinking about was actually a girl that I ended up dating. And like I said, I don't remember all the details, but the fact, I remember that I confused a coworker with a girl that I was dating. Like, wait, does she work here too? Or something like that. So it's been around for a while, but it's embarrassing because it makes you seem like you're self-absorbed and rude, and it's not that way. So there's my experience. Thanks for listening.